Welcome to Quack&Co, the board game channel that's 10 minutes or less guaranteed, and this week I am on the road playing as many little solo games as I can and pulling off to give you quick little reviews and updates. If you didn't see my list video over on Quackalope, the main channel that broke down all of the games I've brought with me, swing over there and give it a gander. But today we're talking about Rolling Realms and specifically the best and worst elements of this little Stonemaier game, this pandemic-style game, not pandemic-style, but was published during us being locked at home, so you could play it over the computer, you can play it by yourself, you can play it with neighbors, you can play it with a room of 728 people. This little game is quite a gem, and one of my favorite solo games on the market. And one of my favorite roll and writes to boot. Let's go ahead and break down why this is so special. So Rolling Realms is a game that is composed of a variety of different rolling or roll and write style challenges where you roll dice and assign those dice to various cards. But each one of those challenges are tied to various different board game genres, types, titles, I suppose, and the mechanics are very customized to whatever that board game was. So if you're playing Terraforming Mars, maybe you're filling out a hex grid and patterns or pushing up the oxygen levels. If you're playing Kingdom Death, maybe you're slaughtering creatures and trying to gain resources. If you're playing Rolling Realms version of Rolling Realms, maybe you're rolling dice and trying to accomplish missions from various different board games. Every single card, every single challenge or scenario you're facing is accurate in a simplified, abstracted way to the game that it comes from. And it has a number of games that are featured in this. This one here features, if I can find what they say, Viticulture, Pendulum, Euphoria, Tapestry, Scythe, Between Two Cities, The Society, Wingspan, Between Two Castles, Charterstone, and My Little Scythe. So the initial Stonemaier offering. But the other expansions that have come out have expanded that conversation into a wider, much more hobby-centric or hobby-exploratory genre. And playing this will give you some small taste, some similarity of what those original titles do so well. It's one of the things that's just so good about Rolling Realms. If you're familiar with the wider group of titles that you're talking about, it's just immensely satisfying. But if you're not familiar with them, like the newest expansion that just arrived, I think I've only played about half the titles in that collection. Some of them are smaller, more indie-based games, which doesn't mean they're not worth playing. It just means it's more unlikely that I would have explored them. You can find that, well, you run into themes and styles and gameplay mechanics that are nice, but maybe not as satisfying as the ones that you're intimately familiar with, because they don't call back to original titles because you don't know the original titles. It could inspire you to go play some more board games and check out all the ones that Rolling Realms is featuring, but it's getting a little niche to be the thing that's making you go decide to play a wide variety of other games. I think Rolling Realms is actually a more difficult game to play with family and friends now than it ever has been before. But this is a solo game review, and that's why it's one of the cool things to talk about. If you're a solo gamer, a puzzle gamer, they've introduced a automa system in here that allows you to run down a 18-hole or a 9-hole golf course, trying to get the best score you can, and that'll be corresponding to the different types of missions that come out, the different type of games that come out that you're trying to solve and score around. And that's really satisfying. There's a number puzzle there that is consistently nice to sink your teeth in and go back to time and time again. But on top of that, if you're familiar with these games, if you're familiar with the mechanics, if you're excited about the genres or the titles or the publishers they come from, then this is a fantastic solo game for you to explore, because it's going to always give you that taste of nostalgia, as if you're playing a little version of those bigger games that you couldn't bring with you or you couldn't play solo. If you're playing with a group of people, then yeah, it's going to be hit and miss, and some of you are going to know and not know a variety of the games, and the theme might feel a little bit disjointed because of that. It's more of a numbers puzzle, a dice allocation game, a game focused around trying to get the best score possible. But as a solo experience, you're able to do the research, you're able to dive in, you're able to become fully immersed in just how niche, just how board gamey this board game is. And I think that's so cool. I think it's extremely special, and I think it stands out in our genre of games. We've seen other games that publishers have tried to create. I'm thinking like Chip Theory games, you know, the game to pick a game style games, right? And those are fun, those are interesting, those are unique, but they've never really hit the zeitgeist. They never hit the market in a way that's grabbed everyone's attention. And I think Rolling Realms is, for me, the first one that's really done that. It's still strategic. It's simple enough that I can play it quickly or with any number of people, and yet it is deep in our hobby. You have to be intimately familiar with the wide-reaching publishers that are all across our space to fully understand just all of the various different expansion modules and how they all pair and pull together. So in a way, how weird and quirky this game is kind of the best and worst thing for it. It's the worst thing because it's hard to play with other people, in my opinion, and have it be as satisfying as some other roll and write games that are out there where the theme is entirely cohesive. But as a solo experience is one of the strengths. I feel like a board gamer when I'm playing a game like Rolling Realms, and I know the games that it's talking about. I think it's really cool. I think it's very special. On top of that, the mechanics engine that you're interacting with here is so satisfying. You're rolling dice and assigning dice to those 3 cards, but each one of those cards have various different objectives you might be going for, from covering up certain locations, gaining apples and rewards that you can then chain into more future abilities. They have little subtext that tell you exactly what those cards do and how they do it well and how to unlock the stars that'll score you the most points. And so after I've went through a process of playing a single round or a single set of rounds, I'm always left feeling like I want to dive back into it. I want to re-involve myself in the challenge. And the solo game sets that up really well. It gives you a consistent basis upon which to judge yourself and a strong desire to dive back into it, to learn the game and see if you can beat your old score by playing through, like I said, a sequence of holes. This is one of the coolest games that have come out in the last few years. Certainly one of the best games, in my opinion, that came out of the design restrictions we faced around the pandemic. I'm thrilled to see Rolling Realms in our industry, and I'm excited whenever anyone wants to play it, but I don't play it as much anymore. That's why it's on this trip with me. I want to dive in. I want to continue exploring it. I want to learn more about this system and see if I can actually beat my own score somewhere down the line. And in order to do that, at least with where I am in this hobby's current journey, I'm going to be playing it solo, and I'll keep you posted on what my score is and what I discover along the way. And hopefully, as I re-explore the base game, which has been a little while since I've played, I'm going to take the time to potentially, possibly, lure myself in to what they just released, the brand new expansion with all of these other unique systems. It was a Gen Con release, and while I didn't pick it up there on location, I'm certainly thinking about it sometime soon. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Remember, less time watching means more time playing, and we'll see you on the next one.